Hey guys, how y'all doing? It's me, Johnny, once again with another video today, coming at you after the incredible purchases that we have made in yesterday's episode, or I think it was yesterday's video, wasn't it? I uploaded yesterday if I'm correct. But we are back again, and as always, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It means a lot to me because this is an absolutely passion project of me, and I enjoy it so much, and it's so great to have this community. We already have over 300 people in the Discord that we have created. People are talking over there on a daily basis. If you guys want to get involved into Sorare yourselves, as always, guys, use the link in the description down below. If you don't, you are missing out. If you use the link in the description down below, you sign up immediately from that page that you get onto, which will be the Sorare main page. But if you do so, I will be your affiliate, and if you have done that, if you buy 5 players off the market for bidding on it, right? After bidding on them and winning 5 of them, you get given a free item. So make sure to do it. If you don't and you just sign up like that, you don't get anything. The highest valued player I have gotten in terms of like free rewards was a 130 euro goalkeeper, a young goalkeeper from the K League, I believe it was. So try your luck and see how things work out. So now that you guys know how to get your free item in a game, let's dive into today's topic, which is massive. This tool is something for you to understand if your team is competitive enough for rewards or not. If you have a team right now, this feature will allow you to understand if you are basically sat there hoping for these guys to outperform themselves as based on previous performances, if you're expecting them to do 120% better than they usually do, or if the team that you have has actually been able to get into reward tiers on a consistent basis. So, Sorare Data has a concept lineup builder. It is on soraredata.com/concept. I don't know if there's a special link for this already. I don't believe there is. If there is, go ahead and use it, but I will put this link into the pinned comment of today's video. Basically, how this page normally looks, and this is one of the things that I need to point out immediately. I've had issues with this page many times, but as it says, it's a beta. So the way you do it, I'll remove my camera real quick. It starts off with Global All-Star Limited. I personally have changed the scarcity to rare immediately because that is the tier that I personally like to play in. And then you go goalkeeper, you type in the player's name. What I highly recommend though, if you want to do this, please go ahead and click goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, and forward straight away before you search for any players, because sometimes I have the issue that some players don't pop up on here, which is a big issue. So just keep that in mind if you can. I personally now look at this and I go click onto this position, which normally is an empty slot. It says goalkeeper. I click on that. I go onto here where you normally type a player's name. I type in the Kaiser and then I find him here. Like I've done with Diaby. I typed in Diaby. Here, the plus sign, you click and then it adds the player to your squad. And you do that for every single position. What this page shows you, first of all, it shows you the lineup floor price, which is quite interesting to see. It shows you the lineup recent price average as well. I don't know how recent that is. Is that like a 7-day average, or what is the measurement here? Would be nice to see. But these graphs right here showcase you that you have a lineup here that is playing like most of these players play, right? The dots are colored in specific ways. Moussa Diaby is red, the Kaiser is blue, Orkun Kökçü is green, Vinicius Souza is purple, and then Saliba is orange. These dots at the floor showcase you which player has not played. So for example, the Kaiser only recently started playing games. So he is not necessarily a great measurement for me to go out there and see if my team is doing well or not, if this team is competitive or not, because the Kaiser, as you guys can see, in the last few weeks here that we have had, he has been involved in these games. And for example, game week 238, my team would have gotten 388 points in this constellation. Now, this score does not keep in track of who you captained and how much percentage you have on your players. So basically what I recommend is just realistically think about who you would have captained basically in these teams. For me, for these lineups, Orkun Kökçü would probably be my main player. And because he has 100 week right here, a 20% boost as a captain or whatever it is really is massive here, right? So it would go up towards the 125 range here for points for him, which adds a massive boost to what we have going on right here, if it is 20% actually. But then again, obviously, you still have to pop on top of that the percentage that the player has as well. So a rule of thumb that I'm personally going with right now, I don't know if this is mathematically right. I personally just add in 10% on top of the point total that I have. So basically, let's say for game week 238, I now know that this team technically would have scored 388 points based on Sorare Data's concept page. So 388 plus 38.8, that is 426.8 points in game week 238. Now, it shows me that I missed out on massive rewards because I didn't go and get this team immediately. But it also showcases me that this team consistently can get over 300 points when everyone plays in the same game week, and that I can actually reap some massive rewards from this squad moving forward into the future. I know under 23 rewards last week were absolutely horrific. You had to get an insane amount of points because Ajax and a lot of other talents performed really, really well. And unless you had some of the top talents in the game, you were not able to get into the rewards unless you were extremely smart about it and found a way to move in there. But I wasn't, and I didn't have this team at that point. So game week 238, what I then do is I go on to this. An offer has been rejected. I'll talk about that in a bit. But I go into the play section here. Game week 238. So I go back 243, 242, 240, 238. So in the game week 238, I look at the price pool for the under 23s, right? I would say it's interesting. So 150, you get a tier 3 rare, tier 2 rare until 39, tier 1 rare there. But what I know is technically I would have gotten 426 points if we base it around the 10% boost, right? So 426.8 points. That would have put me into the first position. Yes, I would have finished first in under 23s if I had this team at that point. Now, again, this is a lot of would have, should have, could have, right? All of that stuff. I know that that is not necessarily a healthy way to look at things. But for me, it's very important to know that the team that I have put together is fully capable of getting something like that done. Now, you can see again, players like Moussa Diaby had to hit 95 points. Players like Kökçü had to hit 100. Saliba had to hit 84 points. My goalkeeper had to hit 63 points for me to be able to get to that position. But that is the type of game week you need to podium. And my Vinicius Souza didn't actually do that well. So there is still some upsides to Vinicius Souza there. He could have easily gotten like 60 points as well, as he has done in the last game week. So we can kind of expect him to do that stuff in the future as well, because he has an 86 here, an 84 there, which allows other players to drop down in their points. So for example, Saliba to get a 60 and him to get a 60 as well. That would put me around the same range. But it's very good to know where I could have finished, because it tells me that there is a bright future ahead with this team. If it isn't like that, though, and I see my team constantly scoring 230s, 240s, 250s, I know for a fact that in under 23 rare, that team is not going to be competitive enough, and I'm waiting for that one-off week of them performing on the top level. Now, because I have the Kaiser here, my points total is a bit skewed. You can't really tell if I would have finished consistently in certain ranges. So just for the sake of argument here, let's go into the player rankings, go under 23, goalkeeper, and let's just find someone around the same price range of the Kaiser, who goes for around 2,000 right now. Let's go for Vindal, all right? Let's put Vindal in there as the goalkeeper, because he was a consistent player to play, I believe. So we put in Vindal, And you can now see the scores of my players, right? On a consistent basis with a goalkeeper that actually starts. It doesn't really matter how many points he gets, but again, like just having an under 23 starting goalkeeper is huge. So Vindal is around the same price as the Kaiser right now. So it's a very good thing to look at. And you can immediately see without the 10% boost that I put on top of the players, this team consistently finishes over 300 at times. So you have 317, 342, 301, 300, 365, 296, 390 in this case, a little bit better than the Kaiser did, so it would have still podiumed. But talking about that podium position, let's take a look at like this game week 238, and let's look at game week 224 as well later on. But this guy's name here, this is what I would do: boost him just in case, like just so I can like know what's going on. So I would copy his name, then I would go to the scout section, go into the managers, and then type in the guy's name. Now, if you are on a manager's page, you go onto SO5 stats to see what kind of rewards they got. And in that game week that we would have podium in and gotten first place, which by the way, also of course gives you 0.25 ETH at the time. It's also quite massive to think about. But at that point, he got Lisandro Martinez, one of the best performers in under 23 in Sorare. So if you go onto Lisandro Martinez, you can see that he currently goes for like 5K. So let's say game week 238. I don't exactly know where it was, but it was probably around this area actually. He was going for over 5K. Now, you guys have seen my team basically cost me around, like at this point, this team would be around 17.5K. Getting a player like Lisandro Martinez plus the ETH bonus, that's nearly 1/3 of my team's worth coming back into my account within just one game week. So it shows if you have a competitive lineup, you can reap rewards like this and bring back a massive amount of value into your club, and make sure that you continuously bring in rewards to basically look at Sorare at some point in months' time before the season ends and be like, hey, look, I put so and so much in, but this team has been able to get consistent rewards and I got so much back from it. Now, of course, we also have to keep in mind that this team easily finishes in rewards tiers like tier 3s, tier 2s, many, many times here in the score lines. And that should tell you that we would have gotten a lot more rewards as well. And it probably in total would have come down to me basically getting all my money back. But again, this is a lot of would have, should have, could have, I know. But it's a very interesting tool to look at, because you can then kind of figure out, hey, is my team actually going to be able to be competitive? Have they ever been able to be competitive for rewards? Do I ever have a chance to podium with a team like this? That's always great to know, because it's just huge to be able to see it visually. So for example, go into game week 224. Let's say, how many points did I have there? Game week 224, I have 365. So 365 plus 36.5, we're adding a 10% bonus on top of it. That's 401 points in game week 224. So let me just go into view all tournaments and let's find game week 224 and find out if we would have been competitive at that stage. Now, this is a moment where I wasn't even on the platform, but again, it's nice to see what could have happened. So in the leaderboards here for the under 23, we see that, ooh, interesting, 401 points would have gotten me basically right into this position. Theo, SIT, that's the guy. I think that's Sorare Italia, isn't it? So let's see where he finished in game week 224 and what he got for it, because it's going to be interesting. It's not a podium, but who did he get at that time? 224. Let me find that. Oh, wow. This guy consistently wins rewards. GG's, man. Well done. Incredible. Game week 224. Under 23 rare, he got El Bilal Torre. That would have been the player that we would have gotten if we were in his position. And again, this is not one of those podium-like players. He's not insane in his value. So you can look at that and say, well, you wouldn't have necessarily finished in a great spot. But again, it's another like what, 400 euros, 300 euros at least that we would have added back into our club. And that once again showcases that, yeah, it's important to have a competitive team. I know it takes a lot of money, but if you do put money into this platform, it's important for you to understand if your money is spent well. That's something I wanted to get across in this video, and I think this tool is going to be huge for everyone to go out there and find out if their teams are going to be able to get these types of rewards. And also for All-Star, most importantly, if your team is going to be able to hit the threshold on a consistent basis, because it has been able to do it in the past. So that's the thing that I wanted to tell you guys about mainly in today's video. Another thing that I want to mention is that we had a massive issue in the club. Hilgers, this is my luck. The guy that I put so much faith in and I hoped that he would do well for us. I was aware that he wouldn't do too well against Ajax. He got 0 points in that game, which I was completely fine with. I'm okay with that. But he actually got injured. So he's going to be out for probably around a month, possibly even longer. I'm not too sure. But the scans have come out and it has shown that he is actually in a bad state physically. So Hilgers for the under-23s is not going to be available. Now, what do I do at that moment in time? Well, I've gone ahead and I've made a swap deal for Tomori, who is under 23 for this season only. He is going to be, he's not going to be eligible for under 23s next season, but I have brought in Tomori into the squad because I do believe that AC Milan next season is going to bring in another massive centre-back to play alongside him. Apparently, someone like Botman could be a possibility, which I would love to see. But generally speaking, they are looking to bring in a big centre-back to play alongside the likes of Tomori, who I think they see as their future when it comes to the centre-back spot. So having a defense of Theo Hernandez, Tomori, a big centre-back to come in, and then a right-back, which could be Calabria, could be anyone really. I don't necessarily know exactly who that would be in that spot, but yeah, that defense looks very good for AC Milan, and it looks like they might be playing Champions League as well. So Tomori, in the long term and also for the short term, is going to be quite useful to me. And AC Milan have some easy matchups coming up, which is great. Their next game is against the 20th placed Salernitana. I am really hoping that Tomori comes in immediately and does a great job. So Tomori has come in for a swap deal for Didion. Yes, the goalkeeper has left, plus some ETH on top of it, and Tomori is now a player in our team. So he is going to go into the under-23s or into Champion Europe, which is a big bonus. So him and Saliba, based on matchups, I will always prioritize the under-23s. For me personally, that's more important. So based on the matchups, it's going to be either him at centre-back or it's going to be Saliba. So just a heads up for you guys. So technically for the next week, these are the teams that I've already put together. So next week we have Utrecht against Vitesse, which Vitesse does score a bunch of goals. They have the likes of Openda. Could be tough for the Kaiser, but would be amazing if they can pick up a clean sheet, which I fully do not expect. So I'll be happy to see the Kaiser on 40 points. Then we have Tomori at centre-back coming in into that defender spot. We have Feyenoord against Cambuur with Kirk Junal. Diaby against Mainz, which I think will be an erratic game. A lot of attacking opportunities. And then we have Vinicius Souza coming up. And yeah, being the Mr. Consistent of this team that can easily hit 60s with his average scores. Never really gets decisives, but if he does, hey, great, we'll take that on board. And it will happen at some point. But yeah, generally speaking, Vinicius Souza comes into the squad there as well. One thing I will have to point out, though, is that I was quite surprised he didn't play yesterday for Mechelen, even though statistically speaking, he is their best player. So I'm hoping there is no issue there. But for the Champion Europe squad, so if you guys have any info, please let me know in the comments down below. For the Champion Europe squad, we're going to be running Pau Lopez, Saliba, Dimitri Payet, Kingsley Coman, and Fabian Ruiz. Caleta Car is not involved. I would have been able to put Caleta Car in here and push Saliba into the under-23s. I preferred to possibly take my profits on Caleta Car because he has gone up in price since I have purchased him. And I have a couple more players that I'm willing to sell along with that to get some ETH back into the club. So that's it for today's video. I hope the new tool is going to be doing wonders for you guys, because it will be doing wonders for me. I will always be using that tool to find out what kind of players like would be doing well for my teams, what kind of players I want to add to a team like this Champion Europe squad to make it even better than it already is, and what kind of all-star team I want to build in the future as well. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care and peace.